It's a very good morning to you, our viewer. Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV this particular morning. And we don't take you for granted. We are delighted that even at this time, you are watching Church of Uganda Family TV. Here comes a special talk show from the Bible Society of Uganda. On the 28th of September 2022, we were here with Mrs. Wako Josephine and Mr. Medson Mugera, who were telling us about the event that was then upcoming, and that was the African Biblical Leadership Initiative, ABLI. And we are delighted to tell you that it is no longer an upcoming event. The event is on. We want to thank the Bible Society of Uganda for organizing the Youth ABLI, which was yesterday. It was a successful one. Now, today we are having another interesting discussion on ABLI, because we were told then that the ABLI was officially starting on the 26th, which is tomorrow. Now, just don't go anywhere. Keep it on Church of Uganda Family TV. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name. With me in studio is Dr. Girma Mohammed, who is a tutor and a senior research fellow. British and Foreign Bible Society. But we also have Mrs. Pheona Wall, who is an advocate, and she's also a former president of Uganda Law Society. And then we have the ABLI Uganda 2022 coordinator, who is Mr. Bariisa Wycliff. Join me as we welcome our guests today. You're most welcome, and we are delighted that you are here with us this morning. Now, because ladies first, we shall begin with Mrs. Pheona Wall to greet us, and then the gentlemen will follow.
Good morning, our viewers. I'm very happy to be here. It's the first time I'm here.
Wow.
And thank you so much for hosting us. My name is Pheona Wall. I'm here in capacity as one of the organizing committee of the ABLI conference. And I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the next few days.
Wow.
And yesterday was super exciting.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. So, Dr. Girma, kindly greet our viewers.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here, and I'm thankful for this TV station and for the Bible Society of Uganda for making this possible. African Biblical Leadership Initiative was launched together with the British and Foreign Bible Society and African Bible Societies to address the issue of faith in public life. So we will be unpacking this later on, and we are excited to be here.
Wow. Then, Mr. Bariisa.
Thank you very much, the presenter and the producers for this show. I'm Wycliff Bariisa. I work with the Bible Society of Uganda, and I'm grateful to God that this year I was given an additional role to my normal role of heading the Ankole branch. So I reside in Mbarara, heading that region. But currently I coordinate ABLI, Uganda 2022. And we are glad that this is the week, this is the period we are here to talk about leadership, to talk about mentorship, and to see how we can bring young people in the picture, especially when it comes to mentorship. Thank you very much. Looking forward to more engagements and later for the talk for the show in Munyonyo.
Wow, since all of you are here for the first time, and this is Family TV,
Yes.
so we are family, therefore feel at home, feel at family. Now, Dr. Girma, I want you to tell us what ABLI is, the broad vision of ABLI.
Thank you very much. ABLI has started from the realization that Christianity is growing in Africa quite briskly. So the researchers show that by 2050, Africa would be the main global hub of Christianity. So Christianity is flowing down to the south, and Africa is the main hub. But in the meantime, we have got a problem. While Christianity is growing, also corruption is growing.
Yes.
We face conflict. We face the issue of justice. So ABLI was established to address that gap between Christian faith and our public life. So it is the main mission is strengthening Christian leaders in different areas, like in the area of politics, in the area of businesses, in the area of academia, in the area of civic society to become public witnesses to the biblical truth. So that is the main vision of ABLI. It was started 12 years ago in Addis in the context of African Union prayer breakfast. We started by bringing political leaders, public officials together to network, to pray, and to reflect on biblical principles for the public lives together. Now, ABLI is growing in different directions, such as addressing local issues where we have been. We have been so far in about 10 countries. Wherever we are, this is just an announcement that we are here for in a nation to promote this vision. But what we will be doing actually starts after the forum. So the main ABLI is deepening this influence in the grassroots, addressing the issue of the youth, addressing the issue of women, addressing the issue of injustice, addressing the issue of conflict. So we feel Rwanda is a rich and fertile ground to come, and we are really excited to be here.
Okay. So was it so easy for you to gather all these African leaders for the first ABLI?
No, it was not. There was a kind of doubt. So it is not, in African Christianity, we have not developed a way that we can articulate the connection between faith and public issues.
Yeah.
For example, we hardly talk about Christianity or the Bible and politics. We hardly talk about Christianity and art. We hardly talk about Christianity and education. So those issues are very much compartmentalized. When we said that we are gathering politicians to talk about the Bible, and people were hesitant and quite surprised, but later on it became a huge success.
Okay, so how has it been? Moving on in the different countries that you've hosted it in?
As I said, it started in Addis in Ethiopia, within the context of AU, because Addis is a kind of diplomatic hub for Africa.
Yes.
And then it started to evolve from there, and we came to Uganda in 2012 actually. I was not there, but there was an Ebola outbreak there, and that sort of hampered the progress. And this time around, it was like a deja vu. We are facing the same problem, but we are more resilient, and we wanted to continue.
With an outbreak again.
Exactly. But so far it is going well. The youth success were very good. But then we went to Ghana, to Eswatini, to Cameroon, to Malawi, and different countries where we have already established a kind of local iterations of ABLI. In Ethiopia, they call it ABLI, Ethiopian Biblical Leadership Initiative, and they host training in the State House for police, for municipalities, and for that kind of organizations as well, because they are discovering that the Bible can offer a lot. It is a book that can be relevant beyond four walls of the church. And that is our message. And when people look at the Bible, they tend to look at it as if it is something we can read and use, either in private, in our homes, or within four walls of the church one time a week. But we are trying to say that the Bible has got values and principles that is applicable and relevant beyond four walls of the church. And that has been recognized very well. Now ABLI is becoming a recognized platform now.
Wow. And as Ugandans, we are blessed that we are hosting ABLI for the second time. The first time it was 2012 when there was an Ebola outbreak. So in 2022, so two, even when there is still an Ebola outbreak. So we are such a blessed nation indeed. Now, Mrs. Pheona Wall, I want you to tell us about ABLI Uganda. Now, we want you to talk about the ABLI, the Ugandans, in the Ugandan setting, the Ugandan context.
Well, ABLI, as you've heard, is about is the African Biblical Leadership Initiative, and it is really to, as Dr. Girma said, to put a biblical perspective to everyday life, especially for public servants. And this particular conference is exciting because it's going to have His Excellency the President and the ministers, parliamentarians, public servants of all stature, from all the different arms of government, from all different institutions. And the goal, the problems of Uganda are like minute, micro versions of the problems of Africa. And as Girma again said, as Dr. Girma said, we have serious contradictions. In Uganda, we have contradictions. We're the country with the most food, with the most fertile land. We're the country that has Karamoja children starving. We're the country with the best environment. We are the country that has floods in Bugiri. We are the country that seems to attract a lot of foreign direct investments. We are the most entrepreneurial country in this side of East Africa. But at the same time, our companies collapse within the first year because of governance issues. So these contradictions need to be addressed. And our problems now are no longer to do with capital or labor or land. We have all that in abundance. I mean, we have just discovered oil. Yeah. When you look at the trade routes in Africa, now I'll boast about Uganda. They all converge in Uganda. It's like this. It's like the center. If you held your palm like this and you drew the map of Africa on it, Uganda would be right in the center. Exactly. And I feel that it's strategically positioned for trade, for investment, for all things good. But why is it that we are rating very highly on corruption indices? We're rating very highly on human rights abuse indices. We're rating very highly on, remember during the lockdown, 38,000 girls in 3 months were impregnated. Yeah. Under the age of 15. And yet this is one of the countries that has been lauded for promoting the rights of women. So these contradictions can only be addressed if we approach leadership from a biblical perspective, where we call out our leaders who seem to wear their faith like a dress on Sunday, and then they throw it out the window in their offices. I mean, let me give you an example of how profound this is. The DPP in Uganda is headed by Christians, all of them. The IGG in Uganda is headed by Christians, and I'm talking about born-again Christians who sing in church, who participate in choirs. The judiciary, the Supreme Court, when you look at the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the Chief Registrar, all of them are Christians that I've been with from the Uganda Law Society, Christian Lawyers Fraternity. We have the Law Society, the president is a Christian right now. So every institution is headed by Christians, by ethical people. Why do these institutions have corruption? Why do they still have issues of human rights infringement? The police has Christians, the army has Christians. So these contradictions need to be addressed, and they can only be addressed if we have honest conversations and relate our work directly with our faith, because the only way that our faith is manifest according to Hebrews is in our works. Yeah.
Yes. Wow, this is so amazing. Now, Wycliff, having been assigned to be the coordinator of ABLI Uganda 2022, what are some of the expectations that people out there who are preparing to be part of the event come tomorrow should have in mind?
Thank you very much. And as Uganda, we are so delighted to host this at such a time as this. This is a very right opportunity for us as a country to gather our efforts together from different efforts, from different scenarios, from different backgrounds, to see how we bring our leadership in our everyday life. So for ABLI Uganda 2022, we are delighted that the session is beginning just in the morning. This evening we have a number of people arriving. As I talk now, we have over 50 delegates from across Africa and outside Africa who have already arrived for this forum. And our Ugandan delegates, a number of them are arriving this evening, but majority of them will be coming in the morning. And that's why we are here even to invite more for that morning program at Speak Resort Munonyo. So tomorrow will be a grand opening of this forum, and we will begin with the wonderful music and choir, and then we shall have a devotion. The devotion for tomorrow will be led by His Grace Dr. Stephen Kazimba, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. Then we'll have a keynote address from Professor Piero Lumumba. He's well known as a Pan-Africanist, but this time is a Pan-African who is a strong Christian and who professes his faith. So we will hear him. He will give us a very wonderful talk on minding the generational gap in the African leadership and how the Bible fits in that gap. Because you see, the Bible is a book where we see leaders were prepared. We see leaders being groomed. We see leaders being anointed. And we see young people taking on positions, being groomed by old people. So we think this is the right opportunity to bring those biblical principles in the current atmosphere, in the current growth of Uganda. And majorly this ABLI, we shall be talking about the aspect of mentorship. And so all through the 3 days beginning tomorrow, we will begin looking at mentorship, where we've fallen as a state where we have fallen. Then we see where are we now. And by the time we end on the third day, it will be now like a plane taking off. Where do we want to go? And we think this is a very wonderful opportunity for us as Uganda. We are grateful for different people who have shown interest in being with us, even who are not from the Christian circles. For example, the Uganda Police Force is sending a delegate from Naguru to come and be part of this. Now, people may think, what does police do with the Bible? When we were mobilizing this, we got some organization and they tell us, this organization and Bible study, where do we meet? But when you go to the personal life, there is no government ministry which doesn't need this. There is no person in Uganda who doesn't need these principles.
Yes.
Because this affects the personal life. And you know what? Leadership is about the leader. When we talk about a ministry, we have ministers. When he is taken to a specific ministry, it grows. Because leadership, you cannot separate it from the top management. This television, the top, for it to grow, the top manager should be having a very, very direct influence on staff. So we are looking at that area directly. So beginning tomorrow at 8:30, we shall be beginning this session. The sessions will be at Speak Resort Munyonyo, and we hope a number of people, some of them who had not bought this idea, will jump on and let us know. We shall share with you contacts on how best you can join us in this. We have a big team of organizers. Mrs. Pheona Wall is part of the team. Now, people who have known Pheona, they understand if she's in something, then that has value. Justice Mike Jivita, who is the chairperson organizing of this forum, he's a justice of the Supreme Court, a man who has worked with integrity up to the current state. Justice Catherine Bamugemeride is the ABLI moderator. We know her. We have different people in the medical, in the political, and so this is a gathering for us leaders. Even business, we shall be in the middle talking about business. How can we mentor young leaders? And we have identified some young leaders who have been mentored into business. And so we'll be seeing how can that work out even for the rest of the young people. We have people who are underprivileged, the blind people. Many times Bible Study of Uganda, we've profiled the blind people. But you have blind people who are magistrates. We have blind people who work in banks. Now, how can we also mentor those people? We shall be looking at the element of parenting. As a parent, you are a mentor. So how can we grow that ability to let parents know that actually parents, you do a very, very big role. I have a very big role mentorship on my sons. Now, how can I utilize that opportunity so that when my sons grow, they can say, we want to be like our father. We want to be like our mother. So we'll also be addressing that element of parenting as mentoring. So this is a very, very wonderful opportunity. And then we shall end looking at the new vision for mentorship. We have a number of speakers. I told you of Professor Pierre Olumumba. We have speakers from Uganda and across Africa and outside Africa. We have a person like Dr. Dare Ajbuye is from Nigeria. We have our own Dr. Ruth Senyonyi. She'll be addressing strongly the area of parenting. We will have our own again, Pheona Wall. She will be addressing how you can mentor that young generation. So we have the retired Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Rook Orombi. We will have a person who heads Bible societies at a global level. will be also addressing a topic here. So this is something interesting. The General Secretary of Bible Society will handle a topic on vision, biblical vision for mentorship. So this is something that we encourage Ugandans to be part of. But then, just like Dr. Girma said, there is an after. And that's what we shall also end with in this show, to talk about after this, after the 3 days, then what next?
We are with a team that is in the kitchen cooking a very important event, a blessing that God has given us here in Uganda. And this is the African Biblical Leadership Initiative, or ABLI. So, as a Ugandan, or as a well-wisher of Uganda, you might not be a Ugandan, but you're a resident of Uganda, you don't need to miss out on this opportunity, because this is a transformational move that God has sent us. This is the second time we are hosting ABLI as Uganda. We can't take that for granted. And with us, Dr. Girma Mohammed, who is a senior research fellow, British and Foreign Bible Society. We also have Mrs. Pheona Wall, who is an advocate, and then we also have the coordinator of ABLI Uganda 2022, who is Mr. Wycliff Bariisa. Dr. Girma, before the break, Mr. Wycliff had introduced something that ABLI is not all about the 3 days. It doesn't end at the 3 days that we are going to be at Munyonyo, but there is something beyond the 3 days. What is that?
Yeah, let me start with our strap line that I repeat everywhere I go to promote this vision. We always say, ABLI is not an event, it is a movement. An event is a gathering that people come together, talk together, clap together, and go back home, nothing happens. But we don't want to craft ABLI in such a way. ABLI is a movement. Whereas the event is, as I said, an announcement that we are a given country, but then the movement aspect starts later on. And let me unpack this by broadening the framework. We have got 3 thematic areas in ABLI. The first thematic area is integrity. That is, we don't deliberately want to say we corrupt, we fight corruption, because fighting is a little bit negative. Yes. But we promote integrity. Fighting corruption should be left for law enforcement and for lawyers and that kind of department. That is not our thing. But we go deeper in terms of forming human person, character. So these law enforcement kind of act as firefighters. The problem is already there, but then they are trying to put it down. But we try to address the problem before it starts. So integrity is a way of worshiping God wherever you are, in your profession, by your character, by your presence in the society. Then the next thematic area is social justice, where we talk of youth in Africa, because they are always say that the future leaders, in ABLI, no, we are saying they are not future leaders. They should be leaders here and now. They should be given a role. Otherwise, there are other competitors in our society through social medias and agitation that would give them a negative role for the youth, a destructive role. So we need to give them positive role, purpose first. Then we also bring the issue of women, because in Africa also we think that women are housebound or kitchen-bound, and they have got no say in public issues and decision-making. But in the Bible, we have plenty of examples that women influenced policies, influenced politics, influenced governments, and we would like to bring that vision so that women can be used, that their wisdom can be channeled in a positive way in decision-making. So now we are more veering in terms of post-ABLI, that is how we call it, post-ABLI, towards the youth. Because we see that the African youth are in crossroads. As I said, there are a number of competitors demanding their attention. Those competitors are not always positive. They don't work towards common good. So we have the mandate to come to the youth where they are, not calling them to come where we are. going where they are, where is their national habitat, and then we mentor there. Is somebody trying to become a social media influencer? Good for that person. But we go there to give them framework, to give them biblical values and principles so that they can be best at what they are doing. So that they could do with integrity, not kind of in clickbaiting and so on and so forth. If they are aspiring to become political leaders, good for them. We go there and we mentor them. We give them biblical principle and purpose and meaning for what they are doing. So we have already good examples of doing that. We have got good track record. For example, in Kenya, we have a thriving mentorship platform where we have so far about 500 graduates. And these people have gone back to their own professions. We are focusing on young university graduates and university students who are not able really to articulate the connection between their faith and their professional life. We help them to articulate that. If you go to the hospital as a medical doctor, what does your faith do for your profession there? And they ask that question on a daily basis, and they become better professionals there. The same with business and so on and so forth. There have been young people who have been competing for public offices, even in recent election in Kenya, coming from that ABLI thing. So they see what they do as worship, as an act of worship, as an act of ministry to God. So that is what we would like to bring here. In fact, at the moment, I'm working with my colleagues back in the UK in terms of creating an online digital learning platform that brings youth, not only from Africa, really globally, to learn together about biblical values and leadership. So when that platform is available, and Uganda would be one of the first beneficiaries.
Wow. that deserves a hand clap, surely. So thank you so much, Dr. Girma. Now, Mrs. Pheona,
Yes.
From what Dr. Girma has said, he talked about business. And much as we look at you as an advocate, but you're also representing the business fraternity.
Yes.
So we are looking at the issue of mentorship, and most of these unpleasant vices are hidden in the business community.
Yes.
And we are blessed that you're one of the people the panelists that are discussing mentorship. So how do you think this is, how important is this aspect of mentorship, especially to the young people who are upcoming businessmen and businesswomen, and like how is the connection with ABLI? Because ABLI is leadership, and we are looking at business and young people and mentoring young people in the business and the other spheres.
Yeah. Thank you very much. To put it in context, I'm a director of the East African Business Council, and the East African Business Council is the private sector body that negotiates on behalf of all the private sector for East Africa. Now, that means even what's happening with the East African community and with the African Free Continental Trade Area is something that we're participating in. And it's very important to have biblical principles and leadership and mentorship, even at that level. Why? We are signatories of many instruments that affect our policies and our practices here. We all know that there are very many foreign agendas that do not necessarily reflect the values of the peoples of East Africa. So we are like watchmen as directors. And even at that level, we need mentorship, we need guidance, there's so many legislations people are trying to slide in that we've refused in our countries, for instance, to have these legislations passed, but they're using the international agreements and things like that to slide in these things. Now, if you are not positioned, if you are not aware, if you've not been mentored to understand that whatever happens at that level is going to affect you in your home, then you're not ready.
Yeah.
So I think also as ABLI, it would be our duty to equip the watchmen, to equip the policy guides, to equip the negotiators, because all international instruments on human rights are actually based on the rights of man, and they're based on the second commandment, Jesus says, is the most important, which is love your neighbor as yourself. And we need these principles as Christians. We need these principles to come out and guide everything. That everything that is done for the people of East Africa, for the people of Uganda, is in their best interests. So mentorship is extremely important. We have, and when we talk about mentorship, we're not talking about just a young person and an older person. We're talking about more experienced leaders passing on their information, passing on their knowledge, passing on their experiences, so that the young people don't have to pay the same prices to learn those lessons. But we're also speaking about creating a critical mass of information. For instance, the history of Uganda during our 60th anniversary as a country at independence, the Uganda Museum held an independence, what do you call it? An independence exhibition. And I was amazed to find that at this exhibition, the issues we have in Karamoja, the issues we have with the guys in Kasese, these conflicts have been there since the 1930s. And they've not been dealt with. Or whoever has been dealing with them has been thinking they're just things of yesterday. And when you deal with them with that perspective, you do not deal with the root cause. You have to understand the issues of the Batwa, the issues of, the issues of the Karamojong, the issues of the Itesot. What are these issues? And you have to understand the history. You have to, as a biblical leader, you have to understand that concept, that context, in order to provide a long-lasting solution. Every president since our independence has had to deal with the Karamoja situation or a Kasese situation. And I was amazed at how nobody is applying history to make sure that they present a solution for the future. So mentorship is extremely important. Mentorship, leadership are married, as in one is the chicken, the other is the egg. And you cannot lead unless you have followed somebody. But you can also not follow unless you're leading. Otherwise, where are you following? There has to be somewhere that all this knowledge you're accumulating is flowing. So we're trying to create these relationships. And the exciting thing about the conference is that at that conference, people are going to recognize each other. There's a scripture in Isaiah that says, your teachers will be revealed to you. So I'm telling Ugandans, come and attend. Your teachers will be revealed to you. Your mentors will be revealed to you. As God takes you through a path. When I wanted to stand for president of the Uganda Law Society, it didn't come out of nowhere. I had walked a journey of about 6 years in the service of the Law Society, and I'd been exposed to many leaders in the past who continued to hold my hand as president. And that's why we were able in a year of COVID to achieve all that we achieved. Not because I knew it all, but because I had people with me who had been there. So we need to understand that if you want to become a minister of information in Uganda, you need to have a relationship. You need to understand the history of that ministry. You need to understand its objectives. You have very little time to do that. It's better if you have a plug-in into the people who've been there before. So we need to respect history, take its lessons, and apply them to the future in order for our programs and everything else, whether in business, politics, or whichever sphere, for them to make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And before I leave you,
yes,
I'll request you to give us your parting shots, because I'll not come back to you again.
Well, my parting shots are one, are you in a mentorship relationship? Are you giving back to somebody? You are here, maybe you're in a position of influence, maybe you are in a privileged position. It means somebody gave you a leg up. So my cry to you is make sure that you actually are giving somebody a leg up. Ugandans, there are many Ugandans that are working in international institutions the way Dr. Girma is. They have to be intentional about making sure that they mentor other Ugandans to take over those positions. That's the only way we do well. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Mrs. Pheona. Now, Dr. Girma, I'll also request you to give us your parting shots, then we shall finalize with Mr. Wycliff.
Oh, okay. In Africa, we have a habit of talking about our politicians as if they came from some
Some
different
other
universe,
planet.
as if they are aliens, but we don't recognize that they are our products. They came from our families.
Our communities.
They came from our church. They came from our community. So we made them. So that is at the same time an opportunity, but also a scary perspective. So if we want a better Africa in coming years, we need to start from the family. I always say the family is the most important educational institution on earth. If we fail someone there, and we will fail that person forever. So no school, no degree, no business, no money can shape that person again, because the formative age of human beings are spent in a family. So I just would like to urge Christians and whoever is listening to us to look into themselves, ourselves, as mentors from now on, and that would be very important, and we can bring a huge impact from that kind of engagement at the personal and family level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Girma. Now, Mr. Wycliff, if someone is out there and they want to be part of ABLI, which is officially starting tomorrow,
Yes.
how do they join? How can they be part? What cost does it take? What are some of the services they should expect? And
Thank you very much, presenter and all members present and the team here. I will let you know that the theme for this ABLI is rediscovering the biblical vision for mentorship. We are rediscovering. It has been there, but with some gaps. So we are rediscovering the biblical vision for mentorship. The forum begins today. Today, in a sense that we have two groups of people who will be attending. One are the residents, those who will choose to sleep at the hotel for these days. We have a group of people who have said, I must be there all the 3 days, and also a resident sleeping in the hotel. That's one group of people. So they are arriving this evening at 5 p.m. So if you were interested, of course it comes with a cost, but I'm going to share the details on how you can get to us, and then we let you know of how you can register. But I'm also going to give you a registration link. So those are arriving today evening at the Speak Resort Munyonyo at 5 p.m. Then we have people who will be coming in and going, non-residents. And non-residents, we will be arriving at 8:30, beginning tomorrow. Tomorrow is 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
And our sessions will be ending at 5 p.m. So at 5 p.m. you can leave for your other duties, or you can stay a bit and connect with the other African leaders. But our sessions will be ending at 5 p.m. So we encourage, if you are maybe around Kampala and you cannot reside in a hotel, you can keep coming in and going back to home. That also has some contribution you have to make, especially in terms of meals and logistics for this international conference. Now, if you would like to register, if you have a pen or you have your gadget there, you go to ugandan.bible. Ugandan.bible. If you put a / registration, to take you directly to registration. But if you put ugandan.bible, it will take you to the ABLI Uganda website. And you will find details there of speakers, of the program, how the program will be flowing. But also you can click there and register. So go to uganda.bible. I repeat, Ugandan. The word Ugandan.bible / registration. You will go directly to registration. But if you go again to Uganda.bible, you will go to the entire website, which will give you an opportunity to look at the entire program of this ABLI. Or you can call us. I'm giving you two contact numbers which you can call, and any of people who will tell you details, especially in terms with cost and the program. You can WhatsApp these numbers, and we WhatsApp you back the program of the forum and how you can register. Any of these can be of helpful. 0701 04 8188. 0701 04 8188. you can call or WhatsApp that number, or you can call or WhatsApp 0784 73 5156. 0784 73 5156. Call or WhatsApp any of those two numbers in case you want more details on how you can join this ABLI forum. We will be able to connect with you and give you the program and how you can connect and be part of this forum. So I encourage Ugandans, let's come from all sectors. We've just talked about ABLI as not only the Christian organization, but all sectors of the economy, so that we see how we can build resilient young leaders who are able to show off their skills, their spiritual attributes, their spiritual, what they have been fed on spiritually. When you read in the Bible, you find a person like Timothy. By the time he reached his level, there were people who were pulling him up. So let's join together so that we can pull other people up. But also Paul had a companion, Barnabas, who was helping him to move and to cross over. So at a higher level, at a lower level, we all need each other. Let's join together for the African Biblical Leadership Initiative Forum. Go to ugandan.bible and get details about ABLI. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Pheona. Thank you so much, Dr. Girma. Thank you so much, Mr. Wycliff, for this conversation. As a Ugandan and a passionate and patriotic Ugandan, I'll also encourage you to be part of this event. This is a blessing that God has brought to us so that we can redefine the mentorship. And like I've told you, the event is going to be, it is officially starting tomorrow for non-residents, but residents are arriving today at Speak Resort Munyonyo. And registration can be done on ugandan.bible/registration, or contact the number 0701 048188, 0784 735156. Thank you so much for watching this discussion. Edwin Austin Mukalas is my name. Stay blessed.